Have you ever looked at someone and thought, if I could just get them to see who I really am, everything would work out? Let me tell you something that might sting for a moment, but could save you years of wasted energy. Finding the right person isn't about convincing someone else you're worthy. It's about realizing that the right person will never need convincing. Finding the right person isn't a lottery ticket. It's a choice to know your worth, to hold your standards, to protect your energy, and to keep growing into the kind of partner you want to have. Because the truth is, when you stop chasing love and start living with clarity and purpose, love has no choice but to find you. Most people start their search for love by chasing sparks. The moment they feel an instant pull towards someone, the butterflies in the stomach, the racing heartbeat, the magnetic connection, they assume they've found the one. But here's the trap: those sparks can blind you. Chemistry feels intoxicating, but it often has nothing to do with long-term compatibility. Imagine meeting someone who makes you laugh, who excites you, who ignites that fire inside of you. But if that same person dismisses your values, belittles your ambitions, or doesn't share the vision of the life you want to build, the chemistry that once felt electric will eventually turn into chaos. This is why clarity must always come before chemistry. Without clarity, your emotions will drag you into relationships that drain you, confuse you, and ultimately waste your time. Clarity begins with asking yourself the deeper questions before you even open yourself to love. What do I actually need in a partner? What are my non-negotiables? What kind of relationship structure do I see myself thriving in? Most people skip this step because it feels less exciting than chasing attraction, but it's the foundation of everything. If you don't know what you're looking for, you'll confuse intensity with intimacy. You'll mistake excitement for stability. You'll give your heart to people who have no business holding it, simply because you didn't pause to identify whether their values aligned with yours. Think of it like building a house. Chemistry is the design, the style, the decoration, the color palette. It's what makes the house look attractive from the outside, but clarity is the foundation. Without a solid foundation, the most beautiful design will eventually collapse. If you know that honesty, emotional availability, and shared life goals are your foundation, then you won't be seduced into building a future on unstable ground just because someone has a charming smile or a magnetic presence. Clarity also gives you freedom. When you're clear, you're no longer afraid of walking away from the wrong person, no matter how strong the attraction feels. You recognize that a partner who doesn't respect your needs or share your vision isn't a maybe worth exploring. They're simply a no. And that isn't rejection, it's protection. It's you saving your time, your energy, and your heart for someone who truly fits into the life you want to create. The right person is not just someone who excites you in the moment. They are someone whose presence expands your future instead of limiting it. So many people stay stuck in the wrong relationships because they confuse having standards with being too demanding. They lower the bar, telling themselves that love means being patient, understanding, and endlessly forgiving. And while patience and understanding are important, they are not a license for you to tolerate poor treatment. Every time you make excuses for someone's lack of effort, commitment, or respect, you're teaching them that your needs can be ignored. You may think you're being loyal, but what you're really doing is betraying yourself. The truth is, standards don't push love away. They protect you from the wrong kind of love. Think about the times you've heard yourself or someone else say, "He's just not ready right now, but maybe he'll change," or "She just needs more time to figure herself out." At first, these excuses sound compassionate, but over time they become a trap, because while you're waiting for someone to get their act together, life is moving on. Your time is your most valuable resource, and you don't get it back. If a person isn't ready to meet you where you are, they're simply not your person. The right person doesn't require you to press pause on your own happiness while they catch up. They show up for you in the present, not just in some imagined future. Having standards means you know what you deserve, and you refuse to settle for less. That doesn't mean you're rigid or unreasonable. It means you have clarity about what kind of relationship nourishes you, and you're unwilling to compromise on your core needs. If respect, consistency, and emotional availability are important to you, then those aren't negotiable. They're not luxuries, they're essentials, and the moment you compromise on them, you start eroding your own self-worth. Here's the shift in perspective. When you hold standards, the wrong people naturally disqualify themselves. They either rise to meet your level, or they drift away because they can't. Either way, you win. Because what's worse than being single is being in a relationship that constantly makes you feel undervalued. And what's better than being in love is being in love with someone who shows up for you without needing to be begged, convinced, or reminded of your worth. The right person doesn't put you in a position where you have to sacrifice your dignity just to keep the relationship alive. They don't force you to question if you're asking for too much. They understand that love isn't about excuses, it's about effort. And when someone truly values you, you will never have to wonder whether you matter to them. You'll feel it in the way they consistently show up. When you're with the wrong person, you can feel it in your energy. You might not notice it right away, but over time, conversations that once felt exciting start to feel heavy. You leave interactions feeling drained, second, guessing yourself, or wondering why you're not enough. That's because the wrong person consumes more than they contribute. They take your time, your attention, and your emotional resources without giving back in a meaningful way. The right person, on the other hand, adds to your life. They don't take away from your energy, they expand it. They give you the fuel to dream bigger, to laugh more freely, and to show up as your best self. It's important to remember that relationships are not neutral. They either build you up or tear you down. There's no such thing as a completely neutral connection, because every person you allow close to you influences your mindset, your mood, and your direction. If you've ever felt yourself holding back your ambitions or shrinking your personality to avoid conflict with someone, that's a clear sign of consumption. They're feeding off your energy, even if unintentionally, and leaving you with less of yourself than you had before. A healthy partner won't compete with your light. They'll help it shine brighter. The best way to test this is simple. Ask yourself how you feel after spending time with someone. Do you feel uplifted, inspired, and grounded? Or do you feel anxious, tired, and unsure of yourself? The right person makes you feel more alive, not less. They celebrate your wins without envy, and when life knocks you down, they don't just watch. You feel their support holding you up. Love isn't about being rescued, but the right partner will always be someone who stands beside you and adds strength when you need it most. Contribution doesn't just mean grand gestures or gifts. It shows up in the small, consistent ways someone invests in you. It's in the way they listen when you speak, the way they encourage your growth, the way they show respect even in disagreement. Those small deposits of effort and care compound over time, and before you know it, you're living in a partnership that feels abundant instead of exhausting. When someone contributes to your life, they don't just make you happy. They make your world bigger. They bring new perspectives, experiences, and opportunities that align with your growth. And here's the beautiful part. When both people focus on contribution instead of consumption, the relationship becomes a cycle of abundance. Each partner is pouring into the other, creating a bond where love feels less like survival and more like expansion. That's the difference between settling for someone who takes and holding out for someone who gives. You don't just find a partner, you find a teammate, and together you build a life that's richer than either of you could create alone. One of the biggest misconceptions people have about love is that it's something they need to chase, like a prize waiting to be claimed if they just try hard enough. But the truth is, you don't attract the right person by desperately searching for them. You attract them by becoming the kind of person who is ready for the relationship you want. This doesn't mean you're not already valuable. You are. It means that growth, fulfillment, and self-respect are the magnetic forces that naturally draw in people who align with your values. When you build a life that feels full and satisfying on its own, the right person doesn't complete you, they complement you. Too often, people look at love as a cure for loneliness, a solution to unhappiness, or a way to fill the emptiness inside. But if you enter a relationship from a place of lack, you end up depending on someone else to make you whole. That kind of dynamic isn't love, it's dependency, and dependency often leads to disappointment, because no one else can carry the responsibility of fixing what you haven't healed in yourself. The right person is not a bandage for your wounds. They're someone who recognizes your strength, your growth, and your light, and adds to it. Becoming the right person means showing up in your own life first. It means pursuing your passions, cultivating your confidence, and developing the kind of emotional resilience that allows you to stand tall with or without a partner. When you take ownership of your happiness, you stop needing someone else to validate you. That shift alone changes everything, because you no longer cling to people who can't meet your standards out of fear of being alone. Instead, you filter naturally. The wrong people fall away, and the right ones are drawn in by the energy of someone who knows their worth. And here's the beautiful part. When you focus on being the person you seek, you actually raise the standard of what you will accept. You'll no longer be satisfied with half-hearted effort or inconsistent attention, because you know the value of what you bring to the table. You'll realize that the right person isn't intimidated by your strength or your standards. They're inspired by it. They want to match it. They want to grow alongside you, not hold you back. Finding the right person, then, is less about searching and more about alignment. When you're living in a way that honors who you are, the right person becomes easier to recognize because they fit seamlessly into the life you've already built. You don't lose yourself in them, you expand yourself with them. And that's when love feels effortless, not because it doesn't require work, but because it grows out of a foundation of wholeness, respect, and mutual growth. When you step back and look at the journey of finding the right person, it becomes clear that love isn't a guessing game. It's a deliberate act of self-awareness, courage, and alignment. It starts with clarity, knowing who you are, what you value, and what kind of partnership will truly allow you to thrive. Without that foundation, chemistry can easily pull you into situations that feel exciting in the moment, but ultimately leave you empty. With clarity, though, you navigate love with intention. You recognize that attraction may open the door, but alignment determines whether it's worth walking through. From there, it's about protecting that clarity with standards. Standards are not about being picky or cold. They are about respecting yourself enough to say no to anything that diminishes your worth. Too many people settle for almost relationship situations that are close enough to what they want but never quite meet their true needs. And every time they compromise, they send the message that their needs don't matter. Holding standards ensures you never abandon yourself in the pursuit of love. The right person doesn't ask you to lower them. They meet them because they recognize your value. Once standards are in place, the focus shifts to energies, specifically whether a person contributes to your life or consumes it. The wrong partner drains you, leaves you doubting yourself, and makes your world feel smaller. The right one adds to your joy, fuels your growth, and stands beside you as a teammate in building a bigger, richer life. Love isn't supposed to weigh you down. It's supposed to lift you higher. And when two people commit to contributing instead of consuming, their relationship becomes a source of abundance, a partnership where both thrive. Finally, the heart of it all is becoming the person you seek. Love is not about filling an empty space, it's about amplifying a life that's already full. When you pursue your passions, cultivate confidence, and build a life you're proud of, you attract partners who are aligned with that energy. You no longer look for someone to rescue you. You invite someone to grow with you. And when that person arrives, the relationship feels less like a desperate need and more like a beautiful addition to the joy you've already created. In the end, the right person doesn't make you lose yourself. They make you more of who you already are. Thank you so much for giving me your time and attention today. I truly believe that every single one of us deserves a love that doesn't just excite us, but also sustains us. And I hope these words gave you the clarity and courage to hold out for the relationship you really deserve. Remember, finding the right person isn't about luck. It's about living with intention, holding your standards, and becoming the best version of yourself, so love has no choice but to find you. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who might need this reminder, and subscribe for more content that helps you grow in both love and life. Your support means the world and allows me to keep creating messages that can make a difference. Once again, thank you for being here with me today. Take these lessons to heart, apply them in your journey, and never forget your worth in love. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay strong, stay intentional, and keep shining. Goodbye for now, and remember, the right person is out there, but first you have to be ready for them.